All right, so you've got some extra cash sitting around, and you're thinking, how do I make this money actually work for me? Well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to cut through all the confusing jargon and give you a super simple, step-by-step guide to making your very first investment. Let's dive right in.
Here's our game plan. First, we'll get into the why, the hidden forces that are messing with your savings. Then we'll get practical and cover the how, picking an account, deciding what to buy, building some smart habits, and finally, pulling the trigger on your first investment.
So let's kick things off with the most basic question of all. Why can't we just let our money chill in a savings account? I mean, it seems safe, right? But there are actually a couple of powerful, kind of invisible forces working against you when you do that.
It really does feel like the safest move, doesn't it? Just letting your money sit there. But here's the thing. Just sitting there is the problem. Every single day, your money is quietly losing a little bit of its value thanks to this thing called inflation. And not only that, you're missing out on the magic of your money growing all by itself.
Okay, first we got to talk about inflation. Just think of it like a slow, tiny leak in your tires. You don't notice it day to day, but over time you're going flat. And get this, the U.S. Federal Reserve wants about 2 to 3% inflation every year. That means, by design, the cash you have today is guaranteed to buy you less stuff next year. It just quietly eats away at your spending power. Let's make this super real with what I'm calling the Chipotle burrito test. So back in 2019, $50,000 could have bought you almost 6,000 burritos. Fast forward to 2026, and that same 50 grand, it gets you over 1,700 fewer burritos. It's the same amount of money, but a whole lot less guacamole. That, my friends, is inflation. So what's the solution? How do you fight back? Well, it's pretty simple. Your money has to grow faster than inflation is shrinking it. A bank account, if you're lucky, might give you 1%. But the stock market? Historically, we're talking an average of 8 to 10% a year. You're not just beating inflation at that point, you're absolutely lapping it. Now for the second reason to invest, and this one it's like magic. It's called compound interest. This is the part where your investments start earning their own money. It's a crazy feedback loop where your money literally starts doing all the heavy lifting for you. Just look at this snowball effect. You start with a single $1,000 investment. After 5 years, cool, you've made about $600. But then in the next 5 years, it makes almost 1,000 more. And after 20 years, without you adding another penny, that initial investment has multiplied by almost 7 times. That is the awesome power of compounding. Okay, so now we get why we need to invest. So what's the first actual step? We need to figure out where this money is going to live and grow. You got to pick the right kind of home for it. You've basically got two main paths here. On one side, you have retirement accounts, like a 401k or an IRA. Their big superpower is these awesome tax breaks. The catch? The money is pretty much locked away until you retire. Then on the other side, you have your standard brokerage account. Its superpower is flexibility. You can pull your money out whenever. The catch there is that you'll have to pay taxes on your profits. And here's some really good news. You can totally forget those scenes from movies with people screaming on Wall Street. These days, opening an account is ridiculously easy. Online brokers like Fidelity, Schwab, or Robinhood are basically your personal doorway to the market, and you can get the whole thing set up from your couch in like 10 minutes. All right, you've got an account open and ready to go. Now for the million-dollar question. With literally thousands of things to choose from, what on earth do you actually buy? Let's just boil this all down to two main choices. On one hand, you could try to pick individual stocks, buy some shares of Apple or whatever. The thing is, this is high-risk, high-effort stuff. Trying to pick the next big winner is, well, it's really hard. The other option, and honestly the one we'd suggest for just about any beginner, is an index fund or an ETF. It's lower risk, it's low effort, and you are instantly diversified. So what in the world is an index fund? Okay, think of an index like the S&P 500 as just a shopping list. It's the 500 biggest companies in the US. An index fund is an investment that just buys everything on that list for you. It's not trying to beat the market, it is the market. And because it's all automated, the fees are usually super, super low. So just one click, buying one share of an S&P 500 fund, you don't own just one company. Nope. You instantly own a tiny piece of all the big tech giants, all the major banks, the biggest healthcare companies. You get a slice of the entire US economy. That is what we call instant diversification, and it's the smartest way to lower your risk.
Now to buy one of these, you just need its ticker symbol. Sounds fancy, but it's not.
Think of them like airport codes. You know that if you type in JFK, you're going to New York. Well, if you type in a ticker like VOO, you're buying the S&P 500. It's just a simple shortcut.
So we know the why, the where, and the what. Perfect. Now let's talk about building the right habits, because this is just as important. It's all about creating a simple strategy that you can actually stick with for the long haul.
Oh man, this is probably the #1 fear that keeps people on the sidelines. You look at a chart, you see it's at a record high, and every instinct in your body screams, I missed it. I gotta wait for a crash. It feels so logical, but the data says something completely different. Turns out the stock market hits an all-time high about 8% of the time. That's like 1 month out of every year. In a market that, over the long run, generally goes up, hitting a new record isn't a scary warning sign. It's normal. It's a feature of a healthy market, not a bug.
And this brings us to this really simple but powerful idea. Forget about trying to perfectly time the market. Is it high? Is it low? Who cares? The most effective strategy, time and time again, is to just keep buying.
The way you actually do this is called dollar cost averaging. And it's super easy. You just invest a set amount of money on a regular schedule, like $100 every single month. When prices are high, your $100 buys you fewer shares. But when prices are low, that same $100 automatically buys you more shares. It takes all the emotion out of it and helps you avoid that nightmare of dumping all your money in right at the very top.
All right, it's time to bring it all home. Let's put everything we've talked about into a simple 4-step action plan that you can use to make your very first investment, like today.
Honestly, it just comes down to these 4 steps, and they work pretty much the same everywhere. Step 1, open your account. Step 2, put some money in it from your bank. Step 3, search for the ticker symbol of what you want to buy, like VO. And Step 4, type in how much you want to invest and click that big buy button. That's it. You're officially an investor.
So there you have it. We've gone through the what, the why, and the how. The road from just saving your money to actually building wealth is probably a lot simpler than you thought. So really, the only question left is, what's your first step going to be?